Yep. So we are live once again here in the sports room. Welcome to part 2 of the sports room talk show. And we are switching gears a little bit because in the first part of the sports room talk show, it was the sports generals. And now it is So What's the Catch, where we traditionally sit around the table in the All Sports Cleveland studio at the Ohio Media School, and we discuss a wide variety of topics from across the sports world. It is usually James, Brian, Chirk, Kramer, and Zach. And we're going to see how much of the crew we can get in here today. But we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. But before that, you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit?
Yeah, I'm the Chirk Berserk, always usually in the Berserk box, producing the show, engineering the show, and yeah, I'm a huge Cleveland fan, Browns fan, and been a lifelong sports fan growing up, just collecting the cards, playing the games, all that.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you on camera for the whole show. Like, that's the one cool thing about doing it this way, Chirk, is like you're gonna be able to like actually be like in the main group, whereas you're usually in your own little world over there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have you on for the whole show. I think it's gonna be kind of fun to do it this way.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Brian, I know you introduced yourself a little bit in the previous show, but you want to introduce yourself again, or?
Sure. Yeah. My Twitter handle is right here at Brian Fraley. But yeah, I'm in the sports emphasis program at Ohio Media School. So really big Cleveland sports fan, University of Michigan alum.
First leg of the day.
Yeah. But yeah, so big Cleveland everything fan, Pittsburgh Penguins fan, Michigan University fan. But yeah, happy to be here. Hey, I had to say it.
Come on.
We're in the playoffs, so if I'm not going to say it now, when am I going to say it?
That Cincinnati versus Michigan battle, what are you going to do? What would you do in that scenario?
Well, the Bearcats would lose, so I'd probably celebrate.
If they lost, if the Michigan.
Well, okay, so let's say Cincinnati beats Bama and we play each other. We win that game probably by 3 touchdowns.
But if Cincinnati wins, that would be funny.
Oh, I'll quit. I'll quit the media industry. If Cincinnati makes it to the national championship game and happens to beat Michigan, I'll quit. I'm done. See ya.
Man, that shouldn't deter you from quitting. This is your craft. I think that's a little bit too far, but anyways,
it's not risky. It's not a risk at all. The Bearcats they don't scare me.
Yeah, I did hear over the last couple weeks. I know we didn't have a show last week, but I just wanted to go out and say rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas, number 88.
Yeah.
That guy was. I remember watching him in the playoffs in 2011 when Tim Tebow threw him the ball and he ran for that touchdown.
People forget that he was the guy who caught that pass a lot,
And he was one of the contributors that won him the Super Bowl
100%.
in 2016.
100%.
I would argue that was 2015, but whatever.
2015, 2016.
But
Super Bowl 50.
Semantics.
Yeah, semantics doesn't matter.
But
hey!
Look who it is.
Oh, there he is.
Well, sorry. Apparently, this requires Google Chrome, and I'm not some Google Chrome loser, so I didn't have to download it.
Coming in with the Mario mustache.
It's me, Mario.
Bro, that looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. Good. I love that stash.
That is the best execution of no shave November into December into Christmas that I have seen. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Listen, I can always grow the impressive mustache, okay? Rest of the beard, not so much. Mustache, I'm good.
I got the beard. I cannot grow a stash to save my life. I can grow
the beard stash. I got the chin strap beard going.
Yeah, my facial hair just doesn't grow on my
For some reason, I can get it to grow on the bottom.
Like it doesn't even grow here and here?
Just here, in here.
For some reason, I can get it to grow on the bottom here, but I can't get it to grow on the sides.
What about the stash?
I think we should start Josh on some test and some trend, get him on a cycle, and see if maybe that fills out his beard a little bit more so that he can, because he wants it so bad. You could see that he wants it.
Anyways,
James, we were just talking about we were just remembering the legacy of number 88, Demaryius Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
What are some fond memories you have of him?
Beating the Steelers in the playoffs.
That's what I said too. When Tim
I mean,
Tebow threw him that ball, and then
he was an incredible player. It's very sad that he passed. I don't think he really got enough really respect or really, I guess, talked about enough compared to some of the other really good receivers that he played with, because he always got overshadowed by whether, someone like Andre Johnson or Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss. It's just he was always that next to next tier of receiver you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I think it's sad, but like a lot of times when someone like this passes, we realize how great they really were. You know what I mean? And I think it's one of the fortunate and unfortunate things here is that like it really is shining a light on how great of a career he had, and people are paying attention now. But yeah, man, it's just tragic. It's sad that we have to talk about it, but we'd be remiss to not at least mention it. So Chirk, I'm glad you brought that up, and definitely rest in peace, and shout out to all the Broncos fans and
future Hall of Famer too.
That's another discussion, but
I think he's
maybe not first ballot.
I think that's a discussion to have at a different time, not right now.
I don't think it's the right time for that discussion, but yeah.
That's more lags.
A little too early to talk about that. But as we always do on So What's the Catch, we got to start with the Cleveland Browns game, and we're going to start how we always do. One Word Wednesday. I think I know what word Chirk is going to go with based on what he just did with this.
Undefeated.
I just can't. I don't know how to follow that. So
that's mine. I'm remaining positive here.
I'm going to say expected.
Yeah, I'm going to say my one word is meh.
I'm going to go with Coco.
Coco? All right.
What?
COVID, coronavirus.
Oh.
All right, COVID. I got a question here about that one. Do you think, it happened the exact same time last year? Exact same time. All the players had COVID.
Well, it's winter. Everyone's inside.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's not the NFL just hating the Browns because they're a small market team.
Listen, Alex Jones, calm down. Okay. It has to do with winter. You think about what happens every single winter with the flu and everyone gets a cold. It's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is much more serious, but it's not some conspiracy. Okay. They had a bye week during the winter. Players were out doing things they probably shouldn't have been, and that's what it is.
Like I said, the only reason I suggested because I remember the exact same time this happened.
Yeah. But
so it doesn't feel like a coincidence a little bit.
No,
it did the first time, but after it was like, all right.
I don't know, man. Global pandemic, it's kind of unavoidable, in my opinion. I don't think that there's any conspiracy for it to affect one team more than the other.
I'm not saying the pandemic. I'm saying
I'm usually the guy with the tinfoil hat on here, and I'm going to say slow down on that one.
I mean, Dale Gribble's my spirit animal, okay, and I'm shooting this down.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but the timing's unfortunate, is your point. It's unfortunate that at this stage of the year, with how many dominoes have fallen fortunately for us and in our favor to put us in a position to still even be in the talks of the playoffs before that game was a miracle, and for us to be hit at this time, it's just like, man,
the only way
it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. The only way we could get to the playoffs if we win all the rest of our games.
Yeah. Pretty
then
much.
we could be in first place in the division, but that's the only way.
There's a path where the Browns go 2-1, and everyone else goes 1-2 that the Browns get in. But That's the most likely path, considering I don't think they have a chance this weekend against the Packers. But, there is a world where they somehow win out. I doubt that happens, but there is a world where they do win out and still get in. But the most likely scenario is 2-1, and everyone else goes 1-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only way we're going 2-1 is if we somehow go into Pittsburgh next week and beat the Steelers on Monday Night Football, which, we beat the Steelers last year in the playoffs, but for some reason, the Steelers are still the boogeyman.
Yeah, they are.
It's a tough place to play. I'll agree with you there. But at this point, I think it'd be silly to project any kind of matchup between us and them and who would be favored or anything. It's like, we don't know what our roster is going to look like by then. They don't know what their roster is going to look like by then. We don't even know if this season's going to be finished.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out. I mean, I don't feel like I'm crossing any lines by saying that there's a good chance that some of this stuff might get canceled. There might not be another option here that COVID might put the brakes on sports completely. I could see the NFL coming to some kind of work stoppage just to be safe.
I mean, you're not wrong. J.C. Treader had an interview today during his media availability. He said that 3 games were very, very close to being canceled this past weekend. Not postponed, canceled. And they fought to have those games played so the players would get paid for their game check. Because the game's canceled, they don't get paid. And so they were very close to being canceled this weekend. I imagine that includes the Browns game.
Yeah, this COVID thing is rough.
Yeah, it's unavoidable, and that's why. I mean, let's be honest though, if it wasn't for all of this COVID stuff, like I think we would all be pretty comfortable writing the Browns season off already and saying that this one's done.
Yeah,
but there's so many question
I think we could have won that game.
Well, we didn't. I'm saying we didn't. Now that we know what we know and our record is what it is, I think if it wasn't for the question marks surrounding other teams and COVID, would we have any faith whatsoever? I wouldn't personally. The only reason I have any faith left at all is just because of how topsy-turvy everything is right now, and you never really know. Yeah. But they don't exactly inspire any kind of confidence from me.
No, they don't. And that last drive, right before the Raiders went down and scored, is what really solidified it for me. It's like, okay, you just need to get a first down. And there is no attempt to really it felt like they're just like, okay, whatever. It didn't feel like they were really trying to get the first down to steal the game, if you know what I mean.
There didn't seem to be a sense of urgency in the play calling.
Correct.
If that's what you mean.
They went backwards and went all Freddie Kitchens in their logic.
Are you referring to the 3rd and 3 play, which everyone seems divided on?
Yes.
For the most part, correct.
Well, here's the thing. At that moment in time, you have to think from a coach's perspective. You want the ball in the best player's hands, okay? Is that best player Nick Chubb or Nick Mullins?
Nick Chubb, 100%.
And that was one positive from that game was Nick Chubb's, what was it, 99 yards or something?
He had over 90. I know that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was impressive.
I thought he had a good day, all things considered, and with how slow of a start he got off to. And yeah, James, I think you have a really good point there. Is when it comes down to it, you want the ball in the best player on the field's hands, and I don't think there was any debate that he was the best player that day.
Right.
So there's an argument there for it. But I would say the series as a whole, I was disappointed in the play. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't have a problem with that one play as much as many people did. Yeah. It was more of the sense of, there wasn't a sense of urgency on that drive to get a first down. It was more, let's just play it really, really safe, kick it and put it in our defense's hands. And I don't know that was the best way to approach that drive. And, I think that's why it didn't have the sense of urgency that I would have liked to have seen, because to me that the season was riding on getting a first down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more what I was referring to really was that drive as a whole. It didn't, you would think they would have a sense of urgency because going into that game, it was, if you win, you're in first place in the AFC North and you're 4th in the AFC standings. But if you lose, you're in last place in the division at 7-7, and you're in 12th place in the AFC North.
Right.
And
And we know our best chance of making the playoffs is winning the division because all of these wild card teams have a tiebreaker over us because we've lost to them all heads up.
correct.
It just so happens that everybody in front of us in the wild card has beat us on the way there.
Or
So-
they have another form of a tiebreaker over
Right.
us in some way.
Mhm.
Right.
Hopefully it's not like 2007 with Jacksonville.
Let me
Right.
ask you this. Do you think they just weren't prepared to even be in that game at that stage of it? Like,
No.
is there a chance that Prefer was just like he was just kind of shocked
Yeah.
that they were even in a position to win that game? Because it was like, I don't know. It just seemed like he had no desire to win that game. Like he went into it as kind of like, let's just get through this and try not to lose any more guys to injury or, you know what I mean? It didn't seem like he thought that team had a chance to win.
Possibly. I mean, here's what I'll come back to is the decision to run with Nick Chubb on third down. I'm not mad at it. I'm more upset with the play call in particular. I'm more upset with the fact that they had Nick Mullins' cadence down that entire game. Okay.
Mhm.
That was not the first time that a run play got blown up. I mean, there were multiple plays where it got blown up 3, 4, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So that's really my real gripe. I would have rather see them go left instead of right because they're going to have a better chance of running it that way behind Batonio and Treader and have have Treader pull and still have Teller pull as well and have them go left. That would give you a better chance of converting that play than trying to go right away from Batonio. I think that was the mistake in that play.
I agree. And I think if you remember Chubb's biggest run of that game, James, it was exactly what you said. It was on one of those plays to the what was the near side of the field. You know, they're like on the near hash and they went left and kind of counter to the direction that the offense was set up to go in. And it worked pretty successfully. And I think that they were kind of in the same position, in the same field position to run that same play or same sort of play that they hadn't shown that they could stop yet. So, yeah, I agree. Run the ball, sure. Don't have a problem with it. But it wasn't exactly an inspiring call in that moment.
Yeah.
I think there were other options. Like James said, I think that's probably the best one of all of them. You know, use the best guys, the guys who are healthy, that are Pro Bowlers, use those guys to your advantage, you know, and they didn't run behind those guys in that moment. And that was kind of puzzling to me.
I mean, given like the circumstances and stuff, I get why we had to shuffle our offensive line and move. I think we had to move Batonio from left tackle to left guard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, backwards.
Flip that, reverse it.
Ha! You're Willie Wonka now.
Yeah.
So we had to move Batonio from left guard to left tackle.
Yeah.
Now I have that right now.
Yes.
Okay. I get confused about that sometimes, to be honest with you.
Right.
But the shuffling of the offensive line, again, not necessarily making excuses, but I think that played somewhat of a factor. Am I wrong in that?
It did.
It definitely, yeah.
And especially on that play in particular, because if you think about it, they're going to the right. They're having Dunn pull and go to the right. What would you rather have? Would you rather have Dunn pull and go to the right and have him block behind Treader and Blake Hance, or would you have Teller pull and go to the left, go behind Treader and Batonio?
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have the second option than the first option.
And you're going up against the weak side linebacker, you know, so there's a lot of advantages to running counter there. So yeah, it was in my opinion that was a bad call, but yeah, running the ball was the right call in that scenario, in my opinion. It just wasn't that wet, you know, that side. Yeah. It was just the wrong run was called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It wasn't the wrong play call necessarily. It was just the wrong direction.
Well, that would be the play call. You have to flip it.
But. Yeah. Again, flip it, reverse it. You got it right. You just had it.
I'm trying. I'm trying here.
You're just getting things a little twisted around. It's because of the magic where like I'm pointing to my left right now, but on screen it's the other thing, you know?
Yeah.
So like
but you know, we talked about this a few weeks ago. James, you pretty much said you think the season's over I think you
Oh, yeah.
pretty much said that after the Sunday night game against the Ravens.
Yeah, they lost to Baltimore.
Yeah. But if you look at the past couple games, we talked about this on our most recent show that we just did a little while ago.
Mhm.
But the scores on the Browns games recently have been like, we lost this game 16-14. Before that I think it was 24-22. Before that it was we lost 16-14. Before that 24-22.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay. 16-10, and before that it was 13-10. So those are all slim margins of victory or defeat. So I don't know if it's what it is, but for some reason, we always seem to be involved in these close games. Is that simply because of the play call? Is that simply because of the style of football that we play? What is it?
Well, the offense stinks right now, and it's not even a recent trend. This is a trend that has been dating back all the way to week 4. Okay, because since week 4, which is 11 games, the Browns have scored more than 17 points just 3 times, and they're 5-6 over those last 11 games. Now, when they score more than 17, they're 2-1. When they score less, they are 3-5. Okay, to be blunt, if you can't score points, you can't win games. They don't score points, they don't win games.
And when they do score points, they get lazy afterwards. Like the first half, it's like them scoring a bunch of they like go on a run, score like they're like ahead by like let's say 14 or 17, and then all of a sudden they come back. And either we lose the game or we win, but it was really close.
Right.
I think part of it has to do with the fact that we don't have a guy who can take you over the hump in those close games.
Baker.
When you look at a lot of the other teams that win those type of games, they're led by guys like Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott and Tom Brady. And yeah, you know the guys. Baker's not one of them.
Kyle
and
Murray,
I think that's when you look at all of these close games and it's like, why are we always on the wrong side of these? I think it's because we don't have the personnel to take us over that hump. And I think that we put too much expectation on the offense that we had on paper. Flat out, they overestimated themselves this year.
Well, it's showing to come out that we really need a quarterback, and this draft is not really looking good on that. So the best option is to possibly trade for somebody. And you suggested Derek Carr. I think that was a few shows ago, James.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like a pretty good option.
And you got to look at it from both perspectives. He's on 1 year left his contract. There's zero dead money, so the Raiders won't have to eat any money to pay him. The Raiders are a team that's most likely going to go through some sort of transition.
So Baker could be their prop.
Maybe they try out Baker. Maybe we send Baker somewhere else. I think that's more likely the scenario. But it's you bring in Derek Carr. You have him play on his deal. If he plays great, you give him a new contract. If he doesn't, cool. It's been real. But the one thing
Baker's good in the other team.
I mean, the one thing I just can't look away from is outside of the 41 point explosion in week 9, this offense has been completely dead and ineffective without Odell Beckham Jr. on this roster. Okay. I think too many people completely underestimated the impact he has. Was he putting up numbers or a superstar? No, but he allowed there to be openings on the offense, and there was space. There's no space. Everything is tight and close to the line of scrimmage now. They're not going to worry about anyone beating them.
What you're saying is it's the things that don't show up on the things that don't show up. I'm tongue twisted.
They don't show up in the stat sheet.
Yes.
What's happening.
The things that don't show up on the stat sheet that he does that helps the team out. Like
a corner and a safety worrying about him going over the top. That creates a nice cushion about 15 yards downfield where a guy like Austin Hooper, Jarvis Landry, even Donovan Peoples-Jones can just live in right there. And, that creates a big difference when he's not there because guess what? Those defenders are right there now. And you got Donovan Peoples-Jones making drop after drop. on Monday, that was a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still young.
I didn't even think about that necessarily until you brought it up, but now I kind of get where you're coming from with that. It's not always what people do on the stat sheet that really matters. It is sometimes it's the things that don't show up on the stat sheet that impacts the game. So I totally get what you're saying, Church, and it's valid too because it's like when you watch what the offense was doing, they had to account for Odell where they had like multiple guys on him. And like James was saying, that allowed for Austin Hooper to live in the middle of the field or a Donovan Peoples-Jones or a Jarvis Landry. It even opened up the running lanes for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson to a certain extent. And
yeah, it's hard to put 8 guys in the box when you need somebody to keep an eye on OBJ.
Exactly.
And I think a big factor and a big impact that it's had on the Browns offense is the screen game is basically useless now. Okay.
Yeah.
It was very effective early on in the season. They ran a ton of screens and they were very productive.
Mm-hmm.
They have been absolutely worthless plays the past couple weeks.
Yep.
Every team knows they're coming. Every team knows that they're going to dump off a screen and it gets blown up almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Without having to worry about a deep threat, they can just live 9 guys in the box and be like, oh, you're going to throw a screen? Well, guess what? We got 9 guys right here. It's not going to work.
Right.
I mean, there were a couple deep passes in the game on Monday that DPJ should have caught that possibly could have made a difference in the game.
It could have, but I mean, it didn't, and that's unfortunate. I mean, the thing with Peoples-Jones is that that's kind of what he is. You know what I mean? He's still a very inconsistent young player.
Yeah.
Do we play what's that guy's name? The rookie.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Anthony Schwartz did play for the first time in forever last week.
We why aren't we using him more?
He had a concussion for a while, so he was out.
Yeah.
But I think he could be really good for us.
He might be. The big issue with him coming out of college is he had very large issue with trying to track the ball through the air, so he wouldn't be able to locate it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but he could be that guy for that screen that can actually do pretty well in those screens.
He's going to be more useful as a guy that's going to be to stretch the field because he has speed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very attractive to look at a guy that's fast and run a screenplay for him,
and he's got hands.
He has trouble tracking the ball, so he's not going to catch the ball.
Right. That's a huge problem when you're a deep threat guy too. Because
so what you're saying is he doesn't have hands?
That's not what I'm saying.
No. It's
locate the ball in the air, so he's not able to figure out where he needs to be, where his hands need to be. So,
okay, so like if it's like an arc throw versus like a straight throw, like he'll more likely catch those straight throws versus the ones that arc up like are long. I get what you're saying.
he has trouble tracking it, so he has trouble knowing where he needs his body to be at the end of the ball's flight. That's his problem.
Right.
Like he doesn't know where to be. He has a hard time seeing it, and when you don't see the ball well, you can't catch the ball.
And
it's that plain and simple, and the best threat he is a deep threat. So like if his biggest struggle is he has a hard time catching the deep ball, how do you even use him as a legitimate deep threat? Nobody's going to respect that part of his game. So
use him as a check down.
He's got all the speed in the world, but it's no good if he can't make a catch 50 yards down the field.
Then he's just going to have to do check downs then.
And then he's basically Darius Hayward Bay, and he became useful about 5-6 years into the league.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't believe he was taken that high either.
Yeah.
For you.
Him, John Ross, both taken just for speed, not skill.
Basically, yeah.
He's got promise. He's the only guy that can even somewhat mimic OBJ style of play, but he's definitely he's not a replacement for OBJ.
So I'm not trying to directly compare Anthony Schwartz to Jamar Chase because right now I would say Jamar Chase is not light years ahead of Anthony Schwartz, or you can say that. How?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, flat out he is. But wasn't Jamar Chase for a brief period of time saying he had trouble tracking the ball?
I think he was just messing with everybody. I think that was an overblown, maybe off-the-cuff statement that everyone ran with because he's been nothing short of amazing in his rookie year. The dude's a stud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the supposed story was that he had trouble with the size of the ball, which is a separate issue. You know, if it was an issue, which I agree with James, I think it was overblown. I think he was kind of tongue-in-cheek saying, like, yeah, it's a bigger ball, and that's why I had some trouble in some of these preseason games.
So that could mean it's overblown that he reads the ball.
No, that's not the same.
No, my point being
we got
is that
some
it's
hope.
Completely different.
It's Schwartz.
We hope for Schwartz to be a contributor at some point next year, but he's someone who should probably only play 35% of the snaps on offense. Just
First
because
All-Pro?
Specific skill set. No, he will not be an All-Pro. It's just you look at his skill set, what he's going to do, what he does for the offense. He has a very specific role, and unfortunately, he has a trouble actually executing that role right now.
I had an idea. What if we get Josh Gordon back?
He's on a roster right now, so
I know he's not, but that's maybe the reason why he's not good.
He's on Kansas City's roster. He just caught a touchdown for them.
Yeah,
I'm saying, I think he fits in our system.
Listen, I wish all the luck in the world to Josh Gordon, but I'm over to Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's be real here. That guy had one good year 8 years ago. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Not even talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because his potential was harnessed. I think he has more years in him because of that.
He has spent so much time away from football. It's just a name. That's all he is. He's a name. He did something once. He's a name.
He's a
one-trick pony.
Mm.
That's it.
You want a guy to run a slant
Got
pattern,
in there.
but they need more than a slant pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. But looking ahead to this Green Bay game, do we have any chance at beating the Packers, or is
yes?
Why? Why do you think we have a chance, Chirk?
Because they'll get too cocky and they don't know how and I don't know. I think they could do it. I think
I'm pretty confident.
I mean, when you lose against I don't know. If you lose against a bad team, it's time to be a good team, in my opinion.
Here's the way I look at it. Unless Green Bay has some COVID outbreak, the Browns have no chance here. Let's be real. A full, healthy version Browns team still would not stand a chance. If Aaron Rodgers is playing, Browns they're toast. They're not going to keep up with that offense. You kidding?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
They've played a lot of suspect offenses, and they've been able to keep them off the scoreboard. This is probably the best offense they've played since the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, they're hot right now too. So it's not good timing.
This game is tough for me because I got obviously I'm rooting for the Browns, but in terms of I'm in the second round of my fantasy football playoffs, and who do I have at quarterback? Aaron Rodgers, and who do I have at wide receiver? Devontae Adams.
Well, here's my question for you: is this a money league?
No.
Then who cares? Root for the Browns. If it's a money league, it's a different story. It's not a money league. Root for the Browns.
I'm in a money league, and I'd rather the Browns win than win. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That'd be the only way I'd be rooting for the Packers. If it was a money league and I have a chance to win a good sum of money.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm for the Browns. I'm getting more money if I get the Browns. They're not favored.
Yeah. The Packers right now are favored by 7.
That's just
not enough.
You think James, you think the spread should be bigger?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're counting on some guys being back for Cleveland right now, but we'll see. But I expect the spread to get bigger over the next couple days and not the other way around.
Yeah. I don't expect it to become closer. I mean, they're probably holding out hope for, Baker Mayfield to come back and Jedrick Wills and Jarvis Landry. But, I mean, what is that really going to do?
Right.
They're going to go from scoring 14 points to 17 points. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
So So right now,
41 points.
as I said, the spread is Green Bay -7. The money line is Green Bay -350, which means the Browns are plus 280. And the over under is 44.5.
I'd take the over only because I think Green Bay is going to completely whomp them. So
Yeah, Green Bay might cover that on their own.
they might score 45 by themselves.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think that smart money would be on Green Bay in that scenario. I don't think a touchdown's enough either. But
So which are you, given that the Browns play on Christmas and you also have the NBA on Christmas, which are you guys going to watch? The Browns
Both.
or the NBA?
Both.
I'm going to watch football.
yeah, I'm gonna watch
Well, if I had a
football if
choice,
it's on.
Browns.
Yeah, I don't even know that those Christmas Day basketball games are going to be played at this
Yeah,
point.
they're messing with the times on those. So there's a chance that one or more might not even be played.
But
And
yeah, if I had to pick one or the other, I'm watching the Browns.
And
Yeah.
to transition from that to the NBA, the Cavs, they're
Yeah.
actually doing really, really well.
They are. They've won 6 in a row.
Man,
Sure.
this team, if I were to compare this team, it's like the 2018 Clippers.
What?
They came out of nowhere and started doing good because they had all the pieces together.
Didn't they add Kawhi Leonard and Paul George the next year?
I thought
That's
so.
what I'm hoping for the Cavs, baby. Get a
No,
superstar.
The Clippers didn't add Kawhi Leonard until 2020 because he was with Toronto in 2019.
Okay, so they were still without good players. Got it.
Yeah,
Well, this Cavs team is exciting. Okay,
I think it can go to the playoffs. I really do.
it's possible. Okay,
Their extent is the second round.
Evan Mobley is a superstar. Jarrett Allen is playing very well. I think he's still overachieving just a little bit.
Garland's doing amazing too.
Garland is playing to the level that I think everyone expected a certain other guard to play at, and I think
Colin Sexton.
Even Chetty's playing well.
Yeah.
he's playing okay. Okay, let's not get too crazy. Okay, but you look at Garland. I think he's thriving because Sexton's not there. Sexton had such a high usage rate. He had the ball in his hand all the time, and it was not really running an offense.
He was the one costing us the games.
I wouldn't say costing us the games. I would
Yes,
say
he was. He wanted the ball in his hand too much, and it disrupted the flow of the team.
I actually agree with him to a
accurate statement.
agree with him to a certain extent because if you watch this offense right now, it's flowing a lot better with Garland as your one.
Mhm.
Whereas with Sexton, it felt like
Wasn't Sexton the 2 though?
Sexton was the 2, but they shared primary ball handling duties, which is just
Yeah,
a
but-
big mess.
what I'm
Right.
saying is when Sexton was the primary ball handler, it felt like the offense would just get stuck. And you're like, is something going to happen here? Or is this going to be another empty possession? Whereas with Garland, you feel good about the Cavs getting some sort of bucket because the ball is moving. Guys aren't standing around waiting for something to happen. It's like, oh, I'm going to go set a pick and try and get Darius into the lane for a layup. Or Darius is like, oh, I see Lowry Markkinen's out in the corner alone for a three-pointer. Okay, I'm going to pass it out to him.
No brick.
But when you look at Garland, he's someone who's going to run the offense. Okay, he's not a true point guard, but he's more of a true point guard compared to what Colin Sexton was. Okay,
Mhm.
you look at Sexton, you're going to get a lot of ISOs, you're going to get a lot of mid-range pull-ups, a lot of not friendly possessions, a lot of
High volume shooter.
He'll score the points, but nothing else besides that. And it's usually like him just like wait. I don't know. It just he scores them quick too. So that's also how when I realize how we lose games, he scores them quick. So on defense, it's just bad.
Yeah, I think that his injury, like obviously don't wish injury upon anybody, but it seems like it's definitely made us a better team.
I
And
mean,
it's taught us a few things about some guys and who they are, as opposed to when Sexton was in there and he was just dominating he was taking every single shot down the court. It's definitely a different team with him out than it was with him in, and it makes for an interesting discussion going forward when he is healthy. What do they do with Garland?
Trade. I think Sexton's out for the year, right?
Yeah, he's done.
I think in the offseason we got to trade him. Got to.
Well, it's gonna have to
We
be.
got to trade him, Kevin Love, and just get a big package for at least a name. I don't know if that's possible, but
I don't know how much you're gonna get.
Yeah, I don't know how much you're going to get at this point in their careers. And I'm not sure I get what you're saying, but
I could see you getting Duncan Robinson or somebody. I would take that trade.
I don't think Miami would give up Duncan Robinson right now.
To get anything of substance, you're going to have to attach multiple draft picks to him, and that's just how it is.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think we need like a superstar. I just want a good shooting guard.
Well, you're going to have to attach multiple draft picks to get a good shooting guard.
Like Bogdan Bogdanovic, maybe.
You'd have to attach multiple draft picks to get a good shooting guard.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Chirk, but James is right.
I'm not asking for a superstar shooting guard. I'm just asking for a decent one.
Okay, well, here's an idea. Okay, because
you don't have to do draft picks.
I saw this floated out on Twitter a couple weeks ago. All right, what if you send Sexton, Love, and a draft pick down to Charlotte and get Gordon Hayward? Really long there. I mean, listen, they're a team that's built on length. Gordon Hayward's not a superstar. He fits the criteria you have set here. And he's someone that doesn't need to be ball dominant to be effective. I think that's honestly the best way to put the two together.
I like that a lot, actually. I'm a fan of that.
Let me see the trade machine of what they would say.
That actually Oh, you're talking about the ESPN trade machine?
Yeah, let's put it to the test.
You go ahead and do that, but just you look at just the kind of the framework of that deal. It gets you. It clears out Sexton, who I don't think they need. I don't think he should be in their long-term plans. You look at Kevin Love. I mean, he's been productive off the bench. Honestly, I'm surprised at what he's done this year, especially in the role he's in. I think a lot of that has to do with Colin Sexton not being there. And
man, he didn't like Colin Sexton.
I don't think a lot of players like Colin Sexton, to be honest with you. It was a very weird vibe when it comes to Colin Sexton. One thing I keep going back to last year is when they were starting JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee would do this thing where he put his arm up and everyone would go up and jump and high five, except for Sexton. He'd bring his arm back down just to get the high five. It was really weird. I never understood what was going on there.
I don't understand that either.
But you look at the idea of adding Hayward. So your lineup would be Garland, Hayward, Mobley, Markkanen, and Jared Allen. That's a really long team.
Yeah.
That's a team that can shoot three-pointers. That's a team that makes you have to guard every position.
Yep.
I tried to get CJ McCollum. This trade failed.
Why are you doing CJ McCollum? I told you Gordon Hayward.
Let me see.
Wait, what did you try to do for CJ McCollum? Let me hear this.
Kevin Love and Colin Sexton.
Portland wouldn't accept that in real life, let alone on a freaking computer.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
I know. I'm saying Portland wouldn't accept that in real life, let alone on the computer.
Again, I think you have that backwards, Josh.
Yeah.
Good Lord. You know what I'm trying to say. Just go with it. God damn it.
Okay, fair enough.
Wait, we can swear on this, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Anything? All right.
I was waiting for you to start swearing or something.
I was waiting for it. It's like, we're on YouTube.
So,
What do they?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to swear. Whatever. I just kind of want to talk more about substance anyway, so I don't see it to be necessary unless I needed to.
Okay.
To break the ice for you. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see the trade that you suggested. I'm trying Gordon Hayward.
Okay.
Man,
So
wait. Is there a way to share your screen on this? Let's see.
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It might not let you.
It should.
No,
It
it's
might
not.
not let him.
You're right, Josh. It's not letting me.
anyways, just try the trade machine. Just do
Just tell us what happens.
Yeah, Sexton and Love for Gordon Hayward.
Is Gordon Hayward still on the Hornets?
Yes, he's still on the Hornets.
Yeah.
Not showing up on here. Does he have like a no?
I'm sure there's.
Here he is. I found him.
Make it work and stuff like that. But I think that was just kind of the basis of the trade, the foundation of it.
But while you're doing that, like
Trade failed
What's the reason?
because I just put Sexton and Love.
No, what does it say? Is there any reason why it's
Like, is it?
No, it just says trade failed.
Oh, sweet tool.
Man, this is worse than 2K and how they do their. 2K does a better trade machine than this.
Yeah, this is terrible. Jeez.
Actually, no. 2K's trade machine's weird.
That trade machine was as effective as asking a Magic 8-ball. It's either you're gonna get yes or you're gonna get no. Like that's it.
Okay, let's see. Gordon Hayward has a $29 million cap hit. Maybe because Kevin Love's contract is so much, it's too much going back to Charlotte.
Okay.
That's a good.
That's
point.
possible.
Maybe they would have to take on another guy from Charlotte to make it work. But anyways, I would love Gordon Hayward on this Cavs team, honestly.
I think that's a good fit. I really do.
LaMelo?
You're never going to get him. Get out of here.
Never in a million years.
all right.
He'll end
If
up
I
in
was the
LA.
GM.
Let's see if I can get this to work.
You think we play tonight?
Yeah, we do. We play against the Celtics.
Yeah,
I know we're scheduled, but do you think we play?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I do think we play tonight.
I mean, here's the way I'm looking at it. Until the game actually starts, I'm going to doubt that it's actually going to happen. And
All
that's
right.
only because of you see just how many NBA games are getting postponed. I mean, they already postponed tomorrow's Nets-Blazers game.
Yeah, Stevens
Josh,
out,
trade
Okoro
machine
out, Windler out, Valentine out, Mobley out, Nemhard out.
So you're
and then for the Celtics, Horford out, Williams out, Hauser out, Parker out, with Richardson out, Williams out, Thomas out.
Hey, the Celtics just signed ISO Joe to a 10-day contract.
so you're trade. Wait, give me your
Taco can get his revenge on the Celtics.
I believe he's still in Vegas with the G League, so he's not going to be able to play.
Give me your trade again. It was Love and Sexton.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Gordon
Love and
Hayward.
Sexton. What is the dollar figure on that?
Sexton is 6 million
What's Love?
31.
Okay, yeah, it's a dollar figure. You would have to take on another player from Charlotte that costs a lot of money. That's not very good.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
so why
Try
don't you
this
throw?
Trade failed. The aggregate
told you.
going.
Listen, throw somebody else on from Charlotte.
That's not good, but makes a lot of money.
Yes, so find a big salary.
Let's
player
take Kelly
that's not
Oubre.
that
We
good.
need a shooting guard. Take Kelly Oubre.
They're not going to trade us Kelly.
Never, but try it, I guess. Why not? While you're playing with that, I'm gonna make some coffee, but I'm gonna be close enough I can.
Hey, look at that.
So,
Trade successful.
Be right back.
And we need a shooting guard. That would work out perfectly.
He'd be a nice bench guard, honestly.
I think
Okay.
Kelly Oubre would be a good starter.
Or depends on what they're going to do lineup wise. If you're still going to keep the long
If you're
lineup,
going to do Garland,
too.
Oubre, Hayward.
Here's your options. Really, if you want Hayward in and want to keep the long lineup, then you have Garland, Hayward, Markkanen, Mobley, and Allen. If you want to go more traditional style, okay, you would go Garland, Oubre, Hayward, Mobley, Allen, and have Markkanen come off the bench.
Yeah, that would be. I think that would be the best idea.
But they wouldn't be as long, I guess. If they want to keep going with the Tower City lineup, or if they want to keep calling it.
Hey, it's a cool nickname, James. Don't
was
hate
that?
on it.
And we got Luke Cornett too.
Yay!
Is my sound okay now that I took the headphones off? You guys
Yeah,
still
you
hear
sound
okay?
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna keep the headphones off. I think, as long
I
as it
think
sounds okay.
Dean Wade's also doing pretty good.
Okay.
The real D Wade.
Would have thrown Dean Wade.
The real D
Yeah.
Wade.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say they do play tonight. And considering who we are out and who Boston's out, let's see. What's the spread? 5.5. Boston's favored by 5.5 at home. I like the Cavs, but I like the spread.
Yeah, 5.5 makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have hell of a game from Garland, Rubio, and Love to have a chance in this game, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not one I typically would bet on, but the Cavs are they're the most profitable team in the NBA right now.
Actually, the spread according to ESPN is Boston minus 6.5.
So it moved a point already, which is fine. Yeah, I think that's. I don't know. I'm looking at the Cavs though; they're 19-12, but against the spread, they're the best team in the NBA. So what that says about the team is that they just overperform time in, time again, basically.
Yep.
So when I look at a game like tonight, this is one of those ones where it feels like it could be one of those ones that Boston loses, and they're like, "What the? How? You know, how did we?" But I don't know. We'll see. It's this Cavs team is so young and inexperienced and hurt, and it's just like it's hard to predict anything at this point.
Right. Do I think
that's what scares me because like the wheels could fall off real quick of the Cavaliers. Like
No.
In a week from now, 2 weeks from now, with how bad this COVID situation is, like this could be a different looking team. This could be the start of a slide, in my opinion. It's the perfect recipe to start a slide. I hate to say it. I hope I'm wrong, but like everything is going the wrong way for this Cavs team right now.
Right.
And the way I look at it, I'm looking at the starters for the Celtics. They have more of their normal players than the Cavs do. So if you're going to look at, guys out for Boston versus guys out for Cleveland, Boston has the advantage of players available.
I would agree.
Hey, as Brian is going off and doing stuff, I love it. He's still interacting.
I'm just grabbing my coffee quick. I had to make another cup. I was falling asleep.
That's what happens when you do double shows, 2 shows back to back of each other.
Yeah. We've been going all day long, so give me a break here.
Yeah, I'm giving you a break. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Go for it. We'll carry the show, Chirk.
Yeah, you can turn off your kit. Okay.
You know
you're good looking at the ceiling.
Thank
You
you.
want, or you can just show us your OnlyFans by. We're looking at OnlyFans. Okay, bad joke. Anyway, back to it.
Anyway,
so James, I'm interested to hear though because obviously we know Josh is high on the Cavs. We know Chark's high on the Cavs. With what this team is at right now, I know it's still early. But grade them out on the James scale of where their performance has been so far. I'm interested to hear what your take is on this team.
All right. Well, they've exceeded my expectations. I thought this team would win 27 games this year. They're already at 19, so good chance they exceed it unless they go on an all-time slide, which it's not impossible, just highly unlikely.
Yeah. Well, look at last year, James. You brought up a good point last show. We started pretty well last season, did we not?
We did. I really doing the preseason predictions, I factored Colin Sexton into the mix. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The fact he's not here anymore has completely changed everything. This team is better without him.
I agree with you. I hate to admit that because I kind of like Sexton, but you're right. And I've seen it on the court. Like I said earlier, when Sexton is out there, it's like the offense just gets stuck in the mud. And you're like, why isn't anything happening? Like, I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Whereas with Garland, people are moving and the ball is
having real offensive sets with Garland where they weren't with Sexton. Okay,
correct,
that's really what's happening.
Yep.
What it reminds me of, I'm not trying to compare level of player or talent level, but think of all the teams that Carmelo Anthony's been on, where he's been the primary ball handler out of play, and the offense just stalls and nothing happens. It's just the circle of suck that you get stuck into of this Carmelo Anthony ISO offense, and nothing happens for 5 to 6 minutes at a time. That's what happens with Sexton. Like it or not, it's the same thing.
He can set the game into a black hole real quick. Like,
okay, we're getting a
Sorry, my fault.
I said we got a pretty good look at Kirk's bedroom or ceiling or what's going on there. You look at just the offense with Sexton, and when it's not there, it's entirely different. So how they're playing now, I still think they're overachieving a little bit.
I do too.
I do think they're due for a regression of sorts, because I don't think they're as good as they are in the standings currently.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're closer to 8 than they are to 3 or 4, honestly. But it's a team that's play-in is not out of the question. It's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Right.
I thought before the season it was complete nonsense talk.
I agree. I thought playoffs was ridiculous to even consider at the beginning of the season, and now I would say there's a good chance we're in that play-in tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
but I agree. I think regression should be expected here. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
But they are certainly overperforming Vegas, and when you're overperforming Vegas, then it's kind of you're due for that to balance out. It doesn't.
Right.
No team stays on that side of it forever.
Right. Look,
with the outage that we have with the COVID-19 outages, players that aren't playing because of the virus, it puts us in a position where regression is to be expected, I think. So I'm excited about this team. I'm more excited about this team than I was at the start of the year.
Same.
But I still don't think they're a team that's ready to win a playoff series. I don't.
No, but I don't think they're necessarily a team you want to play in the playoffs necessarily. They could be a tough matchup for someone in the playoffs. I'm not going to go as far to say we would win a series, but I think we would give whoever we match up with a tougher series than they were expecting.
I mean, it all depends on where they fall in the playoff thing, because you look at Milwaukee. If they're playing full strength, Milwaukee would destroy this Cavs team. Okay,
we only lost by 8 to them when they were pretty much full strength.
They were not full strength, anything close to full strength the last time they played the Bucks.
No. I'm not talking about when we blew them out. I'm talking about when we played them on the second night of a back-to-back after we lost to Utah, and we only lost by 8. In
a playoff situation, it's going to be entirely different than a game in November.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. This team is better suited to win one-game series. You know what I mean? Because they are a matchup problem, Josh, but it's more of a gimmicky thing, where you can steal one because of the matchup issues. But in terms of a 7-game or a 5-game series, that won't sustain over a series. You know what I mean? But I agree, for one team, for one night, going in, they do pose some problems for some people. So in that play-in tournament, there's a good chance they win that play-in game, and maybe make it into a series. But I think ultimately they're not – I don't think they're ready yet. I don't. But I'm really excited about them, and I'm watching now, and which is more than I could say before.
Yeah, right. Up with a Milwaukee or a Brooklyn, they'll be embarrassed. Let's be on here.
I think so too.
You look at Brooklyn; they're trying to figure out a way to get Kyrie Irving back into the mix. So he's suddenly going to be playing half the games now.
Yeah.
Granted, he exits COVID protocols because
he would. Can you imagine him only playing in certain games? How fresh he would be. Can you imagine him coming into Cleveland for one game?
Oh, what are we talking about?
Kyrie. He could play 48 minutes a night in just every other game. Every 3 games.
That would make it harder for us to play him than if you know what I mean, because he'll be he'll live for those games. He'll live for games against teams like Cleveland that are young and that are overperforming, and he'll be fresh and he'll come in and do what Kyrie does because he's
honestly,
better.
I don't think we need Kyrie.
No, we're talking about facing Kyrie.
Oh,
yeah, we're talking about facing Kyrie. Grant, when he comes out of COVID protocols in Cleveland, because he's still not going to be allowed to play in Brooklyn.
Right. We're saying how fresh he would be since he's not playing the home games in Brooklyn. He would be completely fresh coming into Cleveland and then being ready to take more time off after. You know what I mean? So it's you're getting a Kyrie that's going to come in and play 100%.
Or you might be getting a Kyrie that's like overweight.
He's not going to James Harden this. Come on.
I don't think Kyrie's that type of guy.
Yeah.
I think he's more committed than that.
He wouldn't try to James Harden himself.
I just do what, like, with something like this, I trust my eyes. And when I see Kyrie Irving, he doesn't look like a guy that's out of shape. He doesn't look like a guy that's just idly sitting by. Like, he looks like a guy that's staying in shape to play basketball. He's just being really stubborn.
I was going to say, physique-wise, I've never thought of him like...
No, he's always in good shape.
He is, but...
Arguably, one of the better, like, over the course of a 40, you know what I mean? Like, for a guy that plays 40-plus minutes, like, he would arguably be fresher at the end of games than anybody else on the team that was, with that kind of workload.
Yeah.
He's in great shape, in my opinion. So
that's true. I think he's just stubborn and stuck in his ways. Whether that's the right mindset or not remains to be seen.
Right. Whether you agree or disagree with his stance, he's shown that he's not willing to budge on it.
Correct.
So at this point,
correct.
It's going to be interesting that they're bringing him back.
But only for away games. I don't think that's the right way for them to be going about it. I really don't.
I mean, I think the best
Kyrie on away games or no Kyrie at all. I'd rather have Kyrie for half my games than no Kyrie at all.
I think the Kyrie every game I can get him.
The best way to compromise this, I think they should let him play and just test him.
Well, we're not going to solve that issue on this show today. So I think that is kind of pointless at this point to try to fix that issue. You know what I mean? But
no, I was just getting a solution to the middle ground. That was all.
No,
I mean, of course, we would love to be watching Kyrie play. I know I would.
You make sure everything's safe for the players because he's not getting vaccinated, but you also then respect whatever opinion he's got at the same point.
So, going back to the Cavs for a second, when the schedule initially came out, the month of December stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Right, Josh. And let's take a look at the record,
You're gonna lose all these games.
Right. I'm actually writing an article about this for Fanside. I gotta finish it up after we're done with this show. I pretty much gotten it written. I gotta just add a little bit more. But I think if I remember correctly, we're 8-2 so far in the month of December. And the rest of this I'll have to double check on that. But
I know we're 8-2 in our last 10. I don't know if that extends into November or not, but I know our last 10 games we're 8-2.
I can actually look at that right now.
Continue. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. Your point being, this was a month you thought that they were really going to struggle to get through, and at the end of the month, we're actually kind of looking at it from a different point of view.
1, 2, 2 now. Yeah, we're 8-2 right now. I have that math right because we won at Miami, we won at Washington, lost against Utah, lost against Milwaukee, won against Chicago, won against Minnesota.
We know that we won the rest. You could say we won the rest.
Yes, and we won the rest.
We don't need to go through the entire schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, we won the rest since those 2 losses. So yeah.
Correct.
So this was a month that looked like a buzzsaw, and we've kind of come out looking good on the other side of it.
Correct. And so that's why I said December was the prove it month for the Cavaliers. Because early on, I'll give it to them. They went 3-2 on that tough early season Western road trip with visits to Denver, Phoenix, both LA teams. So that looked challenging at the time. And they went 3-2, and then November wasn't too bad. It was a little bit challenging, but it wasn't that bad. It was December that I'm like, okay, are you legit, or are you going to be like what you've been the past couple of seasons? So for them to have a winning record, no matter what happens at the end of this month, I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm satisfied with this team too. Sure. I mean, but the way I'm looking, I'm being cautious about this because teams that overachieve typically do it early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And when the other teams get up to speed and the teams that are overachieving early come back to earth, it usually doesn't end well.
I feel like this.
Remember, the best teams in the league, you got to remember that they're saving themselves for the postseason. They know they're going to be in the postseason. They take a lot of nights off. Not necessarily off, but there'll be a night they'll go 85%. Towards the end of the season, when it matters and you're battling for home court advantage and other things, those teams are going to be playing full throttle. And some of those teams that we're catching off guard right now, and we are creating these problems for in a one night stand, they're going to be better prepared to play us at the end of the season than they are in November. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really am kind of putting my foot on the brakes, because I think that there's potential for things to go south pretty quickly here. And and until we get through this COVID mess and get these guys healthy, I'm not comfortable saying that this is going to be a successful team moving forward.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not sure what just happened to Chirk.
We'll be back.
But anyway, so I get what you're saying. Maybe we probably are overachieving a little bit. I'll give you that.
I mean, Vegas says they are.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Got some technical difficulties.
You're good, man.
Yeah, you're good. So yeah, I'll agree that yes, we are overachieving, and we'll probably come back down to earth, but they are exceeding expectations. Can we at least agree on that part?
I mean, that's
for sure.
Yeah, they're exceeding. I mean, if they can maintain it, I could see this team being at best a 6 seed.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to remain
At
in
best.
the top 5 like they are.
And go to the second round. That's my potential for this Cavs team.
I just don't know which teams in front of them they can take in a 5-game series. When you look at the teams that'll be in front of them, Turk, if they are, what'd you say, 6?
Yeah, 6 seed.
So
think of the 5 teams in the East you put in front of them. Which one of those teams do you think we can beat in a 5-game series?
Let's see.
Well, it's a 7-game series, but
as the standings are right now, is what you're saying?
No, when it's all said and done, the Cavs are in 6. The 5 teams are ahead of them. So you got to look at who's going to be ahead of them. You got to look at Milwaukee. You got to look at Brooklyn, Philly, Boston, Miami.
Right.
Chicago.
I keep forgetting that they changed the first round from 5 to 7 too.
I think we could take on Chicago.
Maybe. I mean, that's
with DeRozan and healthy.
Yeah, I think we could. And the Heat we could take.
I guess your dog vehemently disagrees with what Chirk say, Brian.
Introduce your dog to the show, Brian.
My dog's never been quiet for 2 consecutive hours a day in his life, so I knew that this was coming.
What's his name?
He'll calm down in a moment, but in the meantime,
but it annoys me that that people are gonna say, yes, the Cavs beat the Bucks, but they didn't have Giannis and they didn't have Chris Middleton and they didn't have Drew Holiday. Or yes, the Cavs beat the Chicago Bulls, but they didn't have DeMar DeRozan. They didn't have all these other various players. I don't care. Because look at the standings right now. The Bulls are number 2 in the Eastern Conference. And if you look at it, the Milwaukee Bucks are the defending Eastern Conference champions.
Man, and we remember we beat the oh damn. Never mind. Seems like the Heat didn't have Jimmy Butler either.
So here's the thing. When those that matters. And I tried telling you this a week ago when they throttled the Bucks.
You said that matters?
That starting lineup was 20 this season. 12 belonged to George Hill. That matters. When you don't have your entire starting lineup playing a game, it's not really a true honestly game. It's not a good matchup. It's not a true comparison between the two teams.
Yeah, like if we were going into Green Bay this weekend and Rodgers wasn't playing, like that changes everything. You know? So like to say it doesn't matter, like I get your point. Like, yeah, you got to play the game with the player. You know, everybody has injuries, blah, 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 that whole spiel. I agree with that. But to say it doesn't matter when a league MVP is off the court, I think that'd be foolish. Like, obviously, they're better with him on there.
I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. That's not – I think you're missing my point a little bit.
Well, we understand that you're excited that they beat the NBA champions. We got it. But here's the thing. It's like beating the Bulls in the 90s if they don't got MJ, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, or Tony Kukoc. I mean, sure, you beat the Bulls, but was it really the Bulls?
Yeah. Or if you beat a Golden State team when they were dominant, you know, they're missing Durant and they're missing Klay Thompson and they're, you know, I mean, the only one they got left. It's like that's not, you know, like, yeah, you beat them, but you didn't beat that team. You know, you beat that iteration of a team that was a shadow of itself.
Yeah, and a couple years ago when the only like remaining normal starter from those really good Warriors teams was Draymond Green, teams that beat the Warriors, like, cool, their best player is Draymond Green in that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the Warriors.
That's not. Yeah, that's the only point.
That's what we're trying to say. It's great that, you know, they beat those teams, but I'm sorry, there's an asterisk attached because it's not a true comparison between those two teams at full strength.
At the end of the day,
the Bucks did have an Antetokounmpo on there.
Yeah, they had
Thanasis.
Yeah, they had Thanasis.
Yeah,
they had the other one, not the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know, man. That he might be something eventually. Nobody thought nobody thought Giannis was going to be as good as he is. Oh. I'm not saying he's going to be a Giannis, but like he might develop into a decent player.
So the dog's name. What's your dog's name?
Oh, this is Dakota. Say hi, Dakota.
Dakota. Hello. Can you say, "Here we go, brownies. Here we go." Woof, woof.
He doesn't speak English. He's Spanish. That's why he's not communicating with you. Hola.
No, it is. My brother was able to make a dog bark at that.
Yeah,
pretty funny.
I'm sorry, but he's, like I said, for him to go as long as he went without barking, we actually did a pretty good job. So,
hey, it's fine. Don't worry about it. The show's chugging along. We're making it work. We're not having a rundown this week, which, again, I didn't know we were going to have a show this week. So I'm just like, I'm not going to make a rundown.
Yeah, usually a good thing to tell your listeners that you didn't prepare for the show that we're doing. But anyway.
Sorry.
To everybody in the chat, sorry we didn't prepare, but glad you're here.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple trolls in the chat. That's all we've had so far.
I haven't seen anybody. Oh, never mind. I'm on my private chat.
Yeah, that's just some bots or something.
Now I see.
My dad just commented.
Dakota.
My dad just commented, our dog Remy was going nuts when your dog was barking.
That's funny.
That is funny. I tried to mute it as soon as I heard him, but
hey, you're fine. But in terms of the NFL, I guess going to that in general, I was wrong about the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll admit that. I thought they were done. I thought their season was over. I thought the league had caught up to them.
It seems like Patrick is still the man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, everybody goes through
the myth, the legend,
matches like that, you know.
I thought the league had figured him out, and I thought, the Chiefs' reign of terror is done. Nope.
Well, reign of terror being done, obviously no, but not a good situation for them going into this weekend where they're getting hit with COVID right now, and they're playing an opponent that the Browns need them. The Browns need the Chiefs to beat them. They're playing the Steelers this week, so Chiefs without a lot of their key players going against a game that we need the Chiefs to win. Not great.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think they're without Travis Kelce. They're without Tyreek Hill. Where's that offense going to come from?
I mean, they have other weapons, but
They're not quite the same.
right.
You know, and as we know, the way these COVID situations go, it tends to spread and the list grows as we saw, because at one point the Browns had 20 guys on the COVID list. It's possible more guys get on there, which impacts the game even further. But I mean, it's not a great situation. We need the Chiefs to win.
Yeah.
It's the AFC is so weird right now. It's like there's not one dominant team where it's like, yeah, that's the team that like really scares you. Whereas in the NFC, you've got the Rams, you got the Cowboys, you got Arizona.
The Cardinals?
Yeah, Arizona. You got
just lost to the Lions.
True.
The
But
Lions.
that was like the Browns last year losing to the Jets. You got to have it.
I mean, when we lost to the Jets, we were without like every single one of our receivers. Shout out Jamarcus Bradley, All-Star in that game.
Hey.
But the Cardinals were relatively healthy until DeAndre Hopkins got hurt, I believe. So, I mean, Cardinals should have beat the Lions, but they got the crap kicked out of them.
Yeah. So maybe Arizona's not quite as good as we thought they were.
Do you want to throw the F word on them?
What?
Fraud?
Fraudulent.
Oh.
Fraud?
Okay.
I've been trying to say that it's hard to say that they're frauds, but I don't know. I definitely don't think that they're as good as their record says that they are.
Yeah.
I don't think they are either.
I think Kyler Murray's great, but
And DeAndre.
he was playing his best football and DeAndre was playing his best football. And, we can see with DeAndre out how much more limited Kyler's game is. It's we're either undervaluing DeAndre or we're overvaluing Kyler. I don't, and in my opinion, we're undervaluing Hopkins. I think that he's looking like an MVP right now because that offense is completely different without him in it. It's actually very similar to what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
OBJ being gone. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I get that. I guess my overall point, though, is like in the NFC, you have teams that you can point to and be like, okay, they're a legit team.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas I feel like you can't really say that as much in the AFC.
I mean, you can always just pick Chiefs and Patriots. It's a pretty easy pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like you can point to like certain flaws with Kansas City and New England.
I mean, you can point to flaws with any team if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
That's true.
I agree with what you're saying, though, Josh, that the top of the NFC has separated itself more from the rest of it than the top of the AFC has. Like,
correct. That's my overall point.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. I don't think that the AFC is as top heavy. I think that it's less competitive, to be honest. It's just not. It's not as good as the NFC right now. I don't think it is. I think that divisions like the AFC North that people talk about being one of the best divisions because it's so tight. I almost look at that from the other side of things and say that like none of us were as good as anybody thought they were. You know what I mean? Baltimore's not as good as we thought they were. Pittsburgh's had their issues. Cincinnati, they were looking great, and then they've kind of had some issues. And like, I think that this division sucks in a way.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like, and a lot of people say like, no, like all of those teams they're all 500. They're all within a couple games.
I would say it's mediocre.
Yeah. I think that that's part of the story of the AFC this season is it's just not that good. That's my opinion.
I mean, the AFC South, other than Tennessee and Indianapolis, who is there? Like
And
Jacksonville?
Indy, you're counting on Carson Wentz, and he's he has his days, but he's not
Right.
Aaron Rodgers. He's not
No.
Dak Prescott. He's a guy you can win with, but he's a guy that can also make a mess of things in a hurry.
I mean, the Colts are winning right now because of Jonathan Taylor. Let's be real.
Yeah, he's having an MVP type season, but he's not the only reason they're winning. The Colts
He's the primary reason, I would say.
Sure, I mean, most valuable
Not
player.
T.Y. Hilton, not Carson Wentz,
No.
not their defense.
It's Jonathan Taylor. It's that defense that they have.
Yeah.
That's where I
think
was leaning more towards the defensive side of the ball than on the offensive side of the ball.
I think
they got
Jonathan
some
Taylor
studs on
should be in the MVP discussion.
Yeah, I was saying already.
I mean, he's in the discussion. He'll end up being an also-ran, but he's in the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to win it over Brady, but
Aaron Rodgers, I think, should be the favorite right now.
I don't think Rodgers is ever going to win another MVP after some of the stances he's taken this season. I just think that's.
You think voters are going to take that into consideration?
I think so. Yeah.
And how do you think
That's the world we live in? That's the world we live in. You made a choice to make your political stance public.
Yeah.
Now you deal with it.
That's absolutely
Whether
true.
you agree with it or not, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean about the whole vaccination status?
Yeah, I think that when he came out and he did what he did on the Pat McAfee show, he was just saying, look, like this, I'm tired of people putting words in my mouth. This is how I feel, which is great. This is America. He has the right to do that. But now that he's done that, he has to pay the consequences. And in my opinion, writers 100%, when they decide who MVP is, they're going to hold that against him. Because at the end of the day, they think he's putting other people at risk, and that's their right. Sorry.
Yeah. In a similar situation, you got to look at just the Baseball Hall of Fame. Curt Schilling's out because he's a scumbag on the internet.
Yep.
Okay, it's what it is. He's very controversial political views. He's very extreme in his views, and he's aggressive.
Yeah.
That has kept him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Is he a Hall of Fame?
Enough. He was on 30 for 30 broke.
But
did you ever see that?
I've seen 30 for 30 broke. But you look at Curt Schilling.
Oh wait, that wasn't Curt Schilling. Was that
because of his political views? If he was quiet and just shut off his Twitter account and didn't tweet anything, he'd be in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it absolutely does matter. That's why I think Rodgers is out of the conversation for MVP, to be honest. Honestly, because even though he's almost 1,000 yards behind Brady, I'd argue that he's having a better season than Brady. Like, it's the argument's there to be made. Like, Aaron is more valuable to that team in a different way. Like the MVP is about more than just the numbers. It's got that weird valuable aspect of it. And when I look at who's more valuable to their team, I don't know a guy like take Aaron Rodgers out of that team. Like, I don't know. He's the most valuable player in my opinion. I mean,
we saw what the Packers offense looks like without Aaron Rodgers in that Kansas City game. It was
we got a taste of it, and it wasn't good.
And we're going to see what the Buccaneers offense looks like with all those weapons.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin out for the year. I mean, that's a huge loss. Antonio Brown's still out for an undetermined amount of time. So we're going to see a less potent Buccaneers offense. We're going to see what Tom Brady does with it. I mean, if there's a steep decline, then I think people will be more inclined to vote for Rodgers. But if Brady's able to bounce back from that absolute dud of a performance because some reason he can't play well against the Saints, then he's going to run away with the award.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense, because why is it that since he's been to Tampa Bay, even in the playoff game, he didn't play well against the Saints?
They just got his number. Sometimes that happens.
They got the better of Rodgers earlier this year. Game 1, they whooped his ass. Like, he looked bad. There were people talking about is Rodgers done, which was crazy and asinine. And we all were on the same page. Like, no, that's ridiculous. But people were saying it. Like, is he washed? Is he not the same Aaron Rodgers anymore? It's like, no, that team just had a number that night for some reason. And I think that's kind of what it's like with the Tom Brady situation is like, he just got his number, man. Like, Eli had his number. Nobody's trying to say Eli's a better quarterback than Tom Brady, but he had his number. Like,
the only reason Eli Manning
have a nemesis like that.
The only reason Eli Manning is going to end up in the Hall of Fame is because he beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl twice.
Yeah, but listen to what you just said. He only beat the best quarterback in the history of the game twice, not just once, but twice,
including with probably the greatest team of all time, and he beat the team.
The 16-0 New England Patriots with Randy Moss, that team, and like, come on,
like
man.
Dante Cole. Are you talking about that Dante Culpepper?
No, the Patriots.
No. The Patriots, Brady and Moss when they were undefeated going into the Super Bowl, and then Eli they won.
I was about to say that Dante Culpepper Moss team. I love that team.
I'm sorry, I'm an Eli fan, man. I ride with Eli. I think he's done enough to get in.
First off, I want to point out it was the defense that won those 2 Super Bowls.
Sure.
Thank you. Wasn't Eli. Okay, it was Eli in that game. Throughout
my thing is like
in his career, he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
My thing is that Brady is the best football player, period, of all time, any position, period. Yep. So if you beat that guy twice on the biggest stage, like that means something. You know what I mean?
It just means Tom Brady's not perfect.
Right, but I mean, you get what I'm saying, though. It's like that means something. You know what I mean? Like when you beat the best player to ever play the game twice on the biggest stage, like to say that's nothing is just like, no, that's something. Like nobody else in the league can say that. Name another quarterback that could say that they won a Super Bowl against Tom Brady.
Nick Foles.
There's Nick Foles.
Right, that's it. That's my point.
So I'm looking at his numbers right now. Eli Manning
also the reason they won because of the defense.
He's 9th in passing yards and passing touchdowns.
And actually, wait, that was about it. That was the only
top 10.
He's
only 2 quarterbacks.
Right? The only other players in the top 10 that are not in the Hall of Fame are active players.
Wow. Right. So ineligible players. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's gonna get in.
Even looking at, the only thing you probably ding him on is probably passer rating because it's not as sexy as some of the other guys. But the passer rating is such a flawed number. But you look at the 2 numbers you look at of the quarterback: passing yards, passing touchdowns. He's got it. Plus, he's got the 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. He beat Brady twice.
Yeah, if he would have beat the Jaguars once and the Panthers the other time, something ridiculous like that. Like it's different. But like he beat Brady and the Patriots. The best coach and the best player, and the best team. So.
I would say the Super Bowl 42 run was more significant than the Super Bowl 46 run.
Well,
I don't think that's too much of a stretch to say either.
Well, they beat the undefeated team.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you beat the undefeated team, it's going to carry more weight.
That New England team was so good. To me, that one is a bigger victory for sure, just because they didn't lose up to that point. They were on the verge of doing something nobody had ever done before, and they stopped them. So,
and that Super Bowl is even mentioned in the new Caesars commercials.
With
JB Smoove as Caesar, and Cooper's in it too. Who's
JB Smoove? I haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah.
Then
I love that commercial.
Yeah, that commercial's good.
Cooper's great too, man. He's got a good personality too.
Yeah. Did you watch the College Bowl?
I did. Yeah, I watched the College Bowl. He did great on that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game show. I hope they bring him back for a second season.
Me too. I'd like to see him on Jeopardy. I'm not saying permanent replacement, but like with what they're doing now, I think he'd be fun to have on Jeopardy for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this, because this is kind of parallel to what we were saying. What about the Lamar Jackson situation with Huntley and what he's came in and done for the Ravens? Like we're talking about Rodgers and how you took him out and how that offense looked completely different. Well, what about transversely? What about Baltimore and what that offense has looked like with Huntley? I can't figure it out. That's my thing. Is because I think Lamar Jackson's. I think he's a stud. I think he's great. He's an MVP. So I don't really get it. Is Huntley that good, or what is it why is he having so much success now when Lamar was struggling so mightily?
So with Huntley, he was someone that was overlooked in the draft process, and that's why he didn't get drafted. He absolutely belonged in the mix of quarterbacks that got drafted. And let's be honest, the NFL missed on this. Okay. And with the offense, they're not as run dependent with Huntley than they are with Jackson. Okay. So he's able to do just a little bit something different, which honestly teams haven't prepared for. I mean, their game plans to prepare for each team are done pretty much before the regular season starts. You just make tweaks along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, and so you didn't expect to see Tyler Huntley. You certainly didn't expect him to be this good. So you're caught off guard. You have to prepare and defend something that you didn't expect was going to happen. So
yeah,
I think Huntley's doing the right things. He's making the right plays. He's better than everyone thought he was.
Yeah.
But, it's just sometimes you get caught off guard.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a flash in the pan, or do you think that, like, if he gets a full season somewhere, because most likely he's not going to be in Baltimore next year. I'm not going to guarantee that he's going to be somewhere else, but most likely he will not be in Baltimore. Do you think that he can sustain this as a full season starting quarterback?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer, but here's what I will say is that he's an exclusive rights free agent at the end of the season, so Baltimore can keep him. And if I'm Baltimore, I pay him a pretty decent amount of money just in case Lamar gets hurt again. I mean,
that's a good backup quarterback. My goodness.
If their backup, that's solid. And you know
that's
what?
as good of a backup as there is.
Their offense doesn't have to change stylistically or schematically all that much. Their philosophy is generally the same, just some minor changes. But if you're able to just go seamlessly from one guy to the next and not have to worry about going from one extreme style of offense to another, that's a huge bonus, especially the type of offense Baltimore runs.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I just think it's so interesting, because with the Packers, when Rodgers is out, it's like, yeah, we expected the offense to not look the same. And as soon as they said Jackson was out, I'm like, oh, this offense is not going to look the same. And it was like, oh, this kid can ball, I don't know. I agree, James. I think he was missed. Like a lot of teams missed on him, but he's better than I thought he was. I'll say that. Like, he would have been a second or third day quarterback, in my opinion, if he was drafted. But he looks good, man. I think that there's going to be some teams that want to take a shot on him for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a small sample size, and that's why I'm not ready to say, like, yeah, he'll sustain it over a year, because to go 16 games and 17 now in the NFL is just tough for anybody, so it's hard to project anybody out that hasn't done it before. But there's some teams that are going to be calling, his agent for sure, because he looks a lot better than some of the alternatives out there.
He looks better than Baker does.
I was just about my follow-up was going to be, would you rather have Huntley or Baker at this point?
Oh, would I rather have Huntley or Baker? I'm gonna go with Huntley.
Yeah,
off
me
of one
too.
game, just off it. Oh,
No, I'm saying
I'm not ready to.
Sorry, he's a lot younger. And
I'm not
Baker's
ready to
just
make that declarative statement. I forget it's played 3 games in his career.
Right.
That's
it's been impressive. But I'm looking at his numbers. He's not necessarily pushing the ball down the field. His completed air yards per completion is just under 5.
Yeah, a lot of dunk.
The offense isn't like explosive. It's doing what it has to do. And I mean, that's similar to what we've seen from Baker this season, is doing what it has to do. But I mean, I'm not ready to be like, yep, this guy, this is the guy I want to, put a whole bunch of money invest in or take over, an established starter. You look at some of the teams that have quarterback issues. You look at Washington, because you don't know what their long-term solution is. You have no idea what's going on in Houston.
Philadelphia.
I mean, Philly's doing something. I don't know what they're doing.
Philly's got Jalen Hurts. They're using him.
He's all right, but you look at Minnesota when possibly when they're moving on from Kirk Cousins in a year, depending on what they're doing. The Giants, that's another team that could be in the mix. You really don't know what the long-term future is from the team. Even Pittsburgh's another team that, if I'm Pittsburgh, I'd take a look at him, because my other options besides, even with Roethlisberger in the mix, are not great. So
Pittsburgh
and Denver, for that matter.
Yeah, Denver's another team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are teams where it's like, we'll take a 1-year flyer, and this guy also maybe bring someone else in or draft another guy. Be like, let's see if you can, prove yourself. Give him
He
one of those.
reminds me of a Bridgewater type guy, that kind of like Denver took a chance on, brought Bridgewater.
Right.
I could see them taking a guy like Huntley, to try the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm impressed with what I've seen so far, but like a lot of young quarterbacks have success in their first couple games because there's no tape on them, so yeah, next game he could look like a different player. So I'm not.
Yeah, that's true.
But from what I've seen so far off of him on the field, like I'd be more confident with him as my quarterback now, like right this moment, than Baker. But yeah. I don't know that he's going to end up being like, a Pro Bowler or anything like that. I'm just not ready to say that yet.
Right. That's what I was basing my answer off of, is like at this present moment, based off of what I've seen from Baker this season versus what I saw from Tyler Huntley, not just in that game against Green Bay, but also when he came in for Lamar in the game against us. I'm not saying based off of what I've seen from Baker during his full career. I'm just saying based off of
the last couple games.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a team in need of a quarterback, even one of those stupid contracts with 1 year guaranteed and those voidable years added on, where you can just play funny games with money, and be like, hey, if this works, we can turn this into a real deal. If not, best of luck somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see a team taking a
Seattle's
shot on
to
him.
be in the quarterback mix because I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be there next season.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah,
Russell to the Browns?
I'm not excited by it, man. I don't know.
I feel like Russell Wilson than Baker Mayfield, but I mean, again,
yeah. I agree with that, but I don't think that Russell Wilson's elite. I don't put him up there with Rodgers and
he's not elite.
I did 2 years ago.
He was elite for a period of time in his career, but he's not elite now.
You put him side by side with Baker's numbers, it's not. I mean, he's not blowing him out of the water exactly. He's. But yeah, he had when he was good. Yeah, he was great. But I don't know. I think that his days of being an elite quarterback are over, and now he's going to be more of a journeyman guy. I don't know. I just see him being like the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like he'll be one of those veterans that just stays around forever, and it's like what you can get from him.
The difference is he's a Hall of Fame. The difference is one's a Hall of Famer and the other isn't.
Well, sure.
Russell's a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah,
he is.
We got to take that in mind. I don't think I disagree with your statement. He's a lot better than Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Just because you won the Super Bowl doesn't make you a Hall of Famer. Number one. Number two, it doesn't make you a good
six-time Pro Bowler.
Okay, hold on. I'm attacking your one, not the other ones. Super Bowl winner. Think of some of the quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl and ask yourself, is this guy a Hall of Famer? So I'm going to start off real quick. Trent Dilfer.
My bad. 8-time Pro Bowler.
Is Trent Dilfer a Hall of Famer?
Pro Bowl doesn't matter either. Like all
8-time Pro Bowler.
All Pro is what you want. Not
yeah.
Pro.
Look at the all
second team All Pro.
First team, not team.
Huh?
If you're not on if you can't be on the first team All Pro of 1 year, you don't belong in the Hall of Fame.
And you also got to take into mind the Hall of Fame standards today.
There are significantly more quarterbacks that have better numbers and have won more than he has that are ahead of him, who are active, who are coming to the end of their careers, which are going to be in his way to get in.
Yep.
Maybe he gets in down the line through like the veterans whatever committee that they have for the NFL Hall of Fame or the Football Hall of Fame. But I don't think he's like this slam dunk pick that you're trying to present him as.
I think he is.
I agree.
I don't think so, man. I think he's got a ton of guys.
8-time Pro Bowler.
I'll be honest too. Like I got to be honest. I don't like the guy. He always has rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. He doesn't seem like an authentic personality to me. I
kind of do see what you're saying. Like when he does his talking, he just does feel kind of fake.
Yeah. So I've been harder on him than most people. So like I'll admit to that, but I'll stand by my statement though that I don't think he's ever been elite. I think he's had elite seasons. Like numbers wise, he had some really good seasons, but I don't know. I never thought that he was in the conversation as like right now, elite quarterbacks, everybody knows who they are. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. It's no secret who these guys are. Patrick Mahomes. But with
Justin
him,
Herbert.
yeah, like
Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
his name doesn't come up anymore. Nobody's saying Russell Wilson.
No, that's
Nobody
why.
was back then really either. It was like,
Did you hear what I popped in there?
Yeah, we heard Nick Mullins.
yeah.
But for me, Russell Wilson was never in that elite category. He's in that tier 2 group of guys, let's say like Matthew Stafford or Matt Ryan, where they're good, really good, but they're just a step below of those elite guys.
Yeah.
That's why I said earlier. I think he was elite for a couple seasons.
I don't think he was ever there.
Yeah.
He was never elite in my eyes.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Really good. He had some really good numbers, really good years. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that he ever penetrated that list where when you think elite guys, like he was never in that conversation, even in his best years. I don't think you ever really made it to that level. Whereas guys like Mahomes and guys like, they've separated themselves and they've got there quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll give you that. So maybe we have a little bit of different standards in that regard.
The point, though, I think that the only place we're disagreeing is that, whether he's a lead or not, but the fact of the matter is like he could win a Super Bowl with that Browns team that we put on paper at the beginning of the season.
Correct.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, like if my choices are him or Baker, give me Russell Wilson 10 times out of 10.
Right.
Even with how much I dislike him. You know what I mean? Like I still rather have him be my guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a better option, but I'd almost be more excited by Derek Carr. I think he might be a better fit.
I would be too. I pulled up Russell Wilson's stats over his career. You're more likely to get a season where he finishes in the 3,000-yard range than 4,000-yard range.
And that's
3,000 yards. He was close to getting 4,000 in 2017. He was just 17 yards off of it. But still, he's only eclipsed 4,000 3 times.
Yeah.
It's 4,024, 4,110, 4,212. Okay. Elite guys are throwing for 4,000 plus just about every season, if not 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And never touched anything close to 5,000. And that's an elite quarterback, and that's a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's what they do.
Right. I agree.
I understand that.
What about his rushing along with it, that versatility?
Sure. He's more versatile than some quarterbacks, but,
And honestly, he probably should have. If you went back to that Super Bowl, if he was really so against that call, he should have ran it in. But you're right, he's not authentic, so he couldn't do it.
So our friend Boston Sports Report,
right?
Brian, you've interacted with a little bit. He says Wilson would be a good trade to the Browns.
He's an upgrade, sure.
I agree. Yeah.
I think he's an upgrade. But as far as Wilson and his rushing ability, he's a quarterback who runs, not a running quarterback. He's had 4,000-yard seasons. He's had 0. I'm looking at his numbers right now.
No, I'm looking at him right now too. He passed for 4,000 yards in 2015, 2016.
We said
2019 and 2020.
You said rush for 1,000.
I said pass
for 4,000 is what you're saying now.
Yeah.
But what I heard was he rushed for 1,000.
His best was 800.
Yeah, 849 in 2014, and that was 7 years ago.
Right.
You look at his numbers. His next highest number 586, 553, 539. Everything else is 489 or less.
Yeah.
So, I mean, credit to him. He doesn't miss games really.
Hall of Famer.
Games doesn't make him a Hall of Famer.
You guys are just haters. I think.
Oh, it's not. That's not it. That's not it. No, that's not.
I agree with you, Brian, about the personal
Hall of
stuff.
Fame.
You put everyone in the Hall of Fame.
On the field, I think he's good.
See, I value I think that the Hall of Fame should just have very, very high standards. It's the Hall of Fame. Everyone in there should be undoubtedly great, in my opinion.
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
So he went in first ballot.
So Brian, Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the Hall of Fame recently has become a bit of a popularity contest?
I think there's politics involved, sure. But I don't think that that's like the primary issue with Hall of Fame voting or what have you, you know.
Shatillo got in the first time.
I mean, he's one of the best at his position ever to do it, undoubtedly. So yeah. But that's not this. That I don't feel that way about Russ, you know. So when you say is he a Hall of Famer, no, like I don't put him up there as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But when you say Calvin Johnson or you say a guy like that, like immediately I'm like, yeah, of course, one of the best position of all time, sure.
So you think if I'm reading what you're saying correctly, you think he'll get in, but maybe not be voted in. He would get in via like the Veterans Committee.
Whatever the NFL version of that is, sure.
Yeah.
I think he'll get in if he gets in. It's unless he just goes on some unreal run of playing way better than he has in his entire career, or just rattles off like 4 Super Bowl wins in a row. I don't see him being like this slam dunk Hall of Fame pick.
No,
I agree with you.
He needs to make it back to the Super Bowl at least one more time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think
if he makes it and he has an MVP performance, then sure, like then we'll reopen the conversation. But as of right now, like I just don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a shoo-in to get in. Who do you think aside from Brady and Rodgers, because we know they're getting into the Hall of Fame when they eventually retire, and we know Big Ben's eventually gonna get in when he retires. Like, what are you shaking your head no about, Chirk? Big Ben's gonna get into the Hall of Fame, Chirk.
Answer this question, Chirk. Is Ben Roethlisberger a Hall of Famer?
No.
Why? Why not? Why not?
Some off the field stuff.
Okay, ignore that. Let's pretend like that's not relevant. Because in the Hall of Fame, we'll just pretend for now that none of that's happened. Just look at his numbers historically. Look at the Super Bowls he won.
And I will say he probably will get dinged a bit for that, and it's more than fair why he would.
Okay? Yeah, right.
It's been a long time since then, and people have a tendency to forget.
I don't.
I don't either.
I'm not saying they should either. Like I'm with you, but you know the reality is that people do. You know,
right.
And in my opinion, when you look at his numbers, like he's a Hall of Famer, and I think that enough people have given it. Like, I don't even want to say forgiven him, but they don't care enough to even remember. You know what I mean? Like they're just not invested enough in that story. You know what I mean? Like they just don't. They don't know, or they're ignorant to it, or you know what I mean.
Or they side with him.
Or that, yeah. I mean, there's people out there, sure, that, you know, are idiots and will argue the other side of everything, you know. But yeah, I don't know. The reality of the Hall of Fame, though, is that it is political. It always has been political, you know. So like,
always has been and always will be.
Yeah. So
whether you want it to be or not. But my overall
beings in it,
yeah. My overall question was, other than those three, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Big Ben, who do you think is most like? I guess we can look at quarterbacks.
Are we just looking at quarterbacks, or are we looking at all positions?
We can simplify and look at just quarterbacks. Current quarterbacks I'm talking about.
I think Mahomes will be a Hall of Famer.
Mahomes is already a Hall of Famer.
Not already. He's on his way, but he's not there. He's not there yet.
So you think because forget those three: Rodgers, Big Ben, and Brady, because we know they're in. You guys are saying Mahomes is most likely to get in?
I'd say probably Mahomes.
I'd put Josh Allen up there. I think that he's built for a long career.
I think the quarterback for the Chargers, Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's going to have a great career.
I'm not ready to put him there yet, but he's got that potential for sure.
And he's getting back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons.
Right, but again, you know, that's a number that you have to hit to be in that conversation. It's never a question whether Brady's going to have 4,000.
I think Matt Ryan's a guy that you got to look at here, honestly.
Jackson too.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, Matt Ryan.
Super Bowl, but I mean, guys get it without winning Super Bowls. So you look at all he's accomplished as a quarterback and how long his career's been. Matt Ryan's got to be in that conversation.
What about
Breeze?
Yeah,
he's not playing now.
So I was going to include him.
Yeah. What about Dak Prescott? Do you think he's on his way to getting in the Hall of Fame or not yet?
I think he could.
Not yet.
Not yet, but he's on that. I think he's on the right path.
He has the ability to. It's just he has to do it. He hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, he hasn't done it yet, but I think he's trending in the right direction. I'd say he's trending in that way.
Okay. Who else?
There's not much else.
That's it.
Yeah, there's really not.
Right.
What about Lamar?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, but he's definitely. I mean, his MVP season is one of the best seasons of all time for sure. But he's got to do it more than once.
How about Stafford?
Oh yeah, Stafford.
Yeah, for sure.
How about Baker?
I think Stafford's already. If he retired today, I think he'd still be a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
How about Nick Mullins?
I'm ignoring you right now. Can we mute him?
Yeah, right.
On the horn
Yeah.
All
right. For real, how about do you think Kyler Murray's got that potential?
Kyler Murray, I have no idea. But looking at Stafford's a guy that you got to put in. Honestly, I think he'll end up when it's all done being close to at the top, if not at the top.
He's maybe.
Muted.
What'd you say?
Jerk's muted.
Oh, good. What were we just talking about?
I said Stafford. I think.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I said Stafford.
Stafford's a guy that, like, if you would have put him on, like, that New England team or put him on some of those other, like, dynasty teams, like, he would have been incredible. He's talent-wise as good of a quarterback as I've seen in the league in my lifetime, really. The dude's got all of the talent. He just has been on some shit teams.
Do you think Derek Carr's got the potential?
I don't think so. We've seen enough out of him so far to be like, this guy's going to be a good quarterback, but not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's had a great career. Like, he's had a good career. I don't think he's had a bad career at all, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, not a Hall of Famer.
I mean, when he wins the Super Bowl with the Browns next year, then, it'll be.
Come on, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. Kyler, I can't say he's on track to be in the Hall of Fame right now. Jimmy G, no. Carson Wentz, no.
I'd say out of the young quarterbacks, Burrow has the best shot.
Yeah, I would give you
that. Mac Jones is a good quarterback, and
you think that that backup for the 49ers will be good?
Trey Lance?
I have no idea what Trey Lance is going to be. I mean, here's the deal.
Come to the Browns, baby.
Trey Lance wasn't even supposed to be the pick to San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan got overruled. It was supposed to be Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he got overruled by the front office, being like, "You can't pick Mac Jones there. You got to pick Trey Lance." So they picked Trey Lance, and you haven't seen Trey Lance at all, even though Jimmy G's been pedestrian, even bad at times.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance is a project. That's what he is, and it's going to take a minute for him to get right and get ready and play. But I don't know what to tell you about Trey Lance because he is not playing, and I think it's quite telling that he's not playing.
Yeah,
that's the thing too. Is guys are playing their first game of their NFL careers. They're starting now. So when they take time with a guy, it raises red flags. Because that doesn't happen anymore. It's like if a guy is a guy, they throw him in there.
Right.
Why with the struggles we've seen Garoppolo have, why haven't we seen more of them? And that I think tells a lot about him.
I think it's also like when we took Baker Mayfield #1 overall, it was still Tyrod Taylor starting week 1 and week 2, and he would have been in there week 3 if he didn't get a concussion.
Right.
So it is what it is, but I get it.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time here, so why don't we usually do the Kramer quiz at the end of the show. We've got about 4 minutes left. We don't have a quiz prepared, so how about
No,
we
we don't.
do final thoughts? Does anybody have anything that they want to end on or say before Christmas or whatever?
Let's do a twist on final thoughts because we're not able to be in the radio station today. We're not able to be in the studio, so we can do the kind of segment I wanted to have there. Special segment, just a nice closing one. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
As you are aware, as you can read behind me, other hand, it is Festivus.
Yes.
We have an airing of grievances. Air one grievance about one of the sports teams in town as your final thought.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
I'll go Cleveland Guardians.
Okay.
The Dolans,
Mm-hmm.
they just don't. I don't think that they care about winning at all. And
the last name is Dolan, and you know the history with the Dolan.
I don't.
James.
There's so much potential there. Like Cleveland is such a great baseball city when we have a good competitive team, and it's just like, I don't know. As long as they own the team, I don't know that we're ever going to win a World Series. I just don't see it happening. And that breaks my heart because the potential has been there so many times,
Mm-hmm.
So my airing of grievances is that we have cheap owners and I wish that they'd sell the team.
Well,
Okay.
good news, they got a minority owner possibly on the way. So
That'd be great. Yeah.
So that's in the works.
Or a
Mhm.
minority female owner.
Let's just stick with minority owner right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just go with
Any
that.
other ownership that might spend money is great at this point. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go with the Browns here because they consistently live up to expectations of failing to meet expectations.
Mm.
I'm also gonna have to go with the Browns just because of the fact that I don't know, when they lost the game, I'm like, they want to be the old Browns again. They really just want to go back to it so bad.
To the surprise of no one, I am also going with the Browns, but for a different reason. I think that there are a lot of players and members of the players' families that are too online and too invested into what the fans think. You're supposed to be professional athletes, spouses of professional athletes. Don't engage with fans. Don't get into Twitter arguments with fans and post petty Instagram stories. It's a really bad look. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just you got to stop. It's just really unprofessional. It's very immature. Leave the stupid pettiness, leave the stupid Twitter arguments to the people who have nothing to lose and they live on Twitter. Okay.
Yep.
It's a bad look when you have, one of your starting cornerbacks going after the fan base, honestly.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good one.
Yeah. I'll give you that one. I like it.
Oh.
Well,
Murray
definitely
Chirkmas.
Yeah, Merry Chirkmas. Whatever.
Murray.
that-
Merry
That's my last name.
Christmas.
Merry Chirkmas to you.
Murray Chirkmas.
I think that the smart thing to do now would be to prepare to do it like this again next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way things are looking. So everybody who joined us today, thank you so much. We appreciate you dealing with us doing this alternate format, but this is what's safest for us and our team right now and for everybody else. So it's been fun, guys. Thanks for everybody jumping on at home and being involved.
Stay
Yep.
safe, everybody, and Merry Chirkmas.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, whatever your vibe is. Festivus for the rest of us if you don't celebrate any of them. I hope everybody has a great, great holiday season, and I will see you guys next week.
Yep. Stay safe and stay awesome.